Welcome to Section 9 of Immunodeficiencies. In this section, we'll be discussing ataxia telangiectasia. Let's get started. This scene will take place on the streets of New York City, where we can see a taxi front and center. The word taxi sounds like ataxia, and should help you remember that this image is all about ataxia telangiectasia. Now you can see that we've added a thug who's trying to rob this ATM machine. He smashed the screen with his fist, and now we can see cash spewing out. The broken ATM machine is here to help you remember that in this disorder, there is a defect in the ATM gene. Now, if you look closely at the screen, you can see that the cracks resemble DNA. And this is to help you remember that an ATM gene defect results in failure to detect DNA damage, resulting in double-stranded DNA breaks. We've intentionally shown a gap between both strands of the DNA cracks, not just one. And this is to help you remember that the mechanism which repairs these double-stranded breaks is impaired. More specifically, the non-homologous end-joining repair mechanism is defective in this disorder. As you can see, we've also shown a bunch of cash spewing out all over the place. It's coming out so fast that it's hitting this thug in the chest and face, and he appears a bit startled. This reference to unregulated cash pouring out of the ATM machine should help you think of a cell that is unregulated and continuously divides without checks and balance. In other words, ATM gene defects result in failure to halt progression of the cell cycle. Finally, notice that we've shown little tears in the cash. It's coming out of the machine so quickly that parts of it are getting shredded as it spews out all over the place. I guess you could say that the cash has been changed or mutated, and this is here to help you remember that in this disorder, mutations accumulate. Now we've added a sign up above this ATM that says Association of Financial Professionals. How convenient that these financial professionals have an ATM machine just outside of their building. Anyway, this sign should help you think of alpha-fetal protein, or AFP. The fact that it's high up in the air and surrounded by skyscrapers should help you remember that in this disorder, levels of AFP are elevated. Ataxia telangiectasia is an autosomal recessive condition. To help you remember this, we've shown a homeless guy who's excitedly staring at all of this cash and simultaneously holding a Reese's Pieces. So Reese's Pieces for autosomal recessive condition. He's extra excited because he was ringing his little bell asking for money when out of nowhere cash started appearing before his eyes. Anyway, this bell with a crack in it should help you remember that these patients present with cerebellar atrophy, which leads to ataxia. Patients can also present with spider angiomas, which are known as telangiectasias. To help you remember this, we've shown our thug character looking even more thug with a spider tattoo on his face. So, spider tattoo for spider angiomas. Here's an image of a spider angioma. As you can see, these are vascular lesions characterized by dilation of the vasculature found just beneath the surface of the skin. All right, now let's turn our attention to this street race going on nearby. We can see that the person driving the Jeep hasn't been paying close enough attention and has driven right into a ditch. The Jeep is our symbol for IgG. And the fact that it's going down into a ditch should help you remember that patients with this disorder will have decreased IgG. At the same time, this other homeless guy is walking across the street to look at the ATM machine when he realizes that these two cars are racing towards him. Unfortunately, he can't see too much because he's blinded by these horrendous purple lights from the car. I guess you could say that this guy is sensitive to the light. We've added this to the scene to help you remember that patients with this disorder are especially sensitive to radiation because ionizing radiation causes double-stranded DNA breaks. This is why X-ray exposure with these patients should be limited. Now we've shown another thug trying to rob this parked taxi car. We can see that it has a steering wheel lock, but this guy is in the process of breaking it so he can steal the car. If you look closely, you can see that the lock is shaped like an IgA molecule, and the fact that he's breaking it should make you think of low IgA. So patients with ataxia telangiectasia will have decreased levels of IgA. Now let's turn our attention to the left side of the image, where we can see a city worker cleaning up garbage off of the streets. First, notice that he's cleaning up deflated white balloons. The white balloon is our symbol for lymphocytes. The fact that it's deflated should make you think of lymphopenia. So patients with this disorder will have lymphopenia. Next, notice that we've shown him putting these balloons in a net, which serves as a portable trash can. The net with beads on it like this is our symbol for the lymphatic system. The fact that there is a cancer hope ribbon inside of the net should make you think of lymphoma. So these patients are at an increased risk of lymphoma. We've also added a second cancer hope ribbon that's close to the white balloons to help you think of leukemia. Again, the white balloons represent white blood cells, and the cancer hope ribbon represents cancer. So together, this should help you remember that these patients are also at an increased risk of leukemia. The last part of the scene takes place up in the air on this big TV. Just think of this as kind of like Times Square with those big TVs on the walls of the buildings. Anyway, we can see a trailer for an upcoming film on the TV where archers and warriors with T-shaped flails fight goblins. The reference to the T-shaped flail should make you think of T cells, and the reference to the archer should make you think of B cells. So this is a disorder of T cells and B cells. Finally, we've shown some other guys trying to take on these goblins with their banners. Probably not a very good weapon to fight goblins, but they're doing their best. We introduced the banner with an emerald as our symbol for IgE in our video on Job syndrome. Recall that the banner is shaped like an immunoglobulin, and the word emerald should make you think of E. So the fact that these guys with the banners are getting destroyed by the goblins should help you remember that in this disorder, IgE levels are decreased. All right, that should be everything you need to know regarding ataxia telangiectasia.